Hi, my name is Shawnee Pourier. I portray two moons on American Primeval, which you can watch on Netflix, and this is Pop Culture with Pat.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am so excited to be joined by today's guests. Today we are going to be talking about American Prime Evil, and we're speaking to Two Moons herself. Shawnee, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
You are very welcome. I sat down and watched the show, and it seemed like I started it. Next thing I knew, the thing was over. So I just breezed through this thing. Such an amazing show, and I want to give you guys a heads up before we get into the questions. There might be some spoilers, so just a heads up if you haven't finished it, just make sure you go and watch the series. It is amazing. But just to kind of start things off for you, how did you get involved with the series? What was your audition process like for the role?
Let's see. So I was scrolling on Instagram one time, like one day, and I saw that Angelique Midthunder, like Midthunder Casting, posted a casting call for it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was talking to my sister, and my sister's like, you should ask your agent about it. And I was like, okay. And then I was going to ask my agent about it, and then she sent me the audition through like EagleCast and everything. And I was like, oh my God, okay. Like it's okay, I got
Getting
it. Like
real.
yeah. Like and then I studied and then I sent in a self-tape and apparently they liked that one and they wanted me to do another one, I believe. And then I did that one and then they liked it and then I got a callback, like in-person callback. And this is only like my second in-person callback ever. So I was like kind of freaking out a little bit. The casting director comes in to where everyone was waiting, where all the actors are waiting, and they're like, make sure you go in there in character. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay. So I'm
Of
like trying
course.
to character. Yeah. And then they called me, I think, second, I believe. So I go in there and then I walk in and they take my sides from me. Like immediately she grabs my sides and I'm like, oh my God. Okay, this is like real. And then Peter Berg, he's just like, get out. And I was like, he's like, and then he said that about like three times and he's like, get out. And I was like what? Like, and he's like, like, what are you doing? Get out. And I'm like, and then I started going for the door because I actually thought he meant it. And then I forgot that I had to be in character. And then so I started going to the door and he's like, no, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And then he started laughing and I was like, why
You're
are
like,
you?
what's going on?
That was scary. And then, we introduced ourselves, or we introduced, you know, introductions. And then he just was like, okay, now sit against the wall right here and I'm gonna yell at you. And I was like, okay. And then he just, started yelling at me. And then he was like, okay, now stand up and get in my face like you're gonna fight me. So I started getting in his face and everything. And then he's like, okay, now scream at me like you're like scaring away like a wolf or something. And I just started screaming at him. And then that was it, really. And then
Oh,
he was like, okay, and
so it was an
then
interesting audition process for Sara, it sounds like.
yes, it was very interesting. It was kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun.
But
It
hey,
like definitely, it
you made
definitely.
it, you're here, and everything worked out. And speaking of, the moon, the character Two Moons, so what was it about her that really captivated you, got you interested in the role and, portraying her for this series?
Mhm. Well, I was reading the character description. I was like, oh my God, this little girl, she's so strong. She's been through. I feel like she's been through so much. Like
Oh
I want to tell her story right and everything. So I really wanted to do it. Like I really wanted to do it because I feel like I've been through enough. Well, like not nearly as much as she has, but I felt like I kind of resonated with how strong she was and how. Not saying that I'm a strong person, but like,
no, I know what you're saying.
yeah. No, she's just there's so much to her. And I was just so interested and intrigued by the way she carried herself, I guess.
And I was listening to some other interviews about the series, and several people, the creators, cast, and things like that, were just mentioning how authenticity was super important when it came to creating the series and bringing it to life. So I'm curious for you, what kind of research and prep did you do to, bring this character to life to the screen?
Mhm. Well, I journaled a lot about Two Moons. Like I journaled. There's pages and pages in my book, my journal about Two Moons and her life previous to the storyline, And
Yeah.
she's been through, and I've just made all this stuff up about her, and I just, started writing her story. And that really helped me in a sense of like connection. I really felt connected to her by like the second week of filming. And I've grown so much love for her. And I really just like Google. Google is my best friend
Yeah.
about filming.
Thank God for the internet.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, no, just a lot of like my own research and, sign language, like plain sign language. I had to learn plain sign language for her because, she doesn't have a tongue, so she'd rather.
Yeah. So this is all completely new for you. Like you didn't know sign language prior to this or anything?
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was so exciting. I love challenging myself. And I feel like this was the project to challenge myself.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, when it came to reading the scripts, because there was, I mean, watching the series, there was stuff in there that caught me off guard because I didn't really know what to expect. I had just heard a lot of great things about the series, so I kind of went into it almost blind, which I feel like sometimes is the best experience where you just don't know what to expect. But for you, when you were reading the scripts, was there any one particular scene or several scenes that you were really looking forward to filming the most? And then I guess when it came to filming them, what was like the most challenging scene for you in the series to film?
Let's see. The one, okay. So I was really looking forward to the teepee scene, which is like, with Two Moons' like father.
Yeah, yep.
Um, it was just so like I felt really empowered doing it because I've known so many of my relatives have been assaulted like that. So like being able to do this for them meant a lot to me. And it was so hard. It was such a hard scene for me to film. But I just wanted to do it for them.
Yeah, I mean it came out great. And so this is a very personal role for you then, like overall, it sounds like.
Mhm. Yeah.
In the behind the scenes video I was watching of just kind of talking about the filming process, someone had mentioned that you guys, I believe it was the director, had mentioned that you guys were filming up in the mountains for it was like 13 months. Granted, I don't know like how long, maybe like if you were up there for all like 13, but you guys were up there for the 13 months. And I mean, watching the show, just seeing some of the shots, the elements, and things like that. How did you kind of just like prepare to be in those physical elements, filming some of those scenes for those specific scenes or episodes?
I didn't really prepare. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna be in the snow. My toes are gonna be icicles. But I was so excited to film and be a part of this project. It didn't really matter, you know?
That
Like,
must
of
have really immersed you, like being, yeah, being out like in the snow, being out if if it was hot, sunny out. That must have really made it a lot easier, I guess, to like get into character because you're on location rather than maybe being on a stage or something like that where, you're pretending to be cold or something like that.
yeah, no, it helped so much. And of course I had like heat packs like everywhere that I possibly could. But it was interesting. I loved it though. It was so beautiful out there.
So Sarah, Devin, and Isaac, they in a way basically become Two Moon's almost new family in the series after escaping her previous life. So can you just talk about working with those guys on the show, developing that family dynamic between all of you?
Mhm. Yeah, so Preston, he really is like my little brother. Like we text each other all the time. We FaceTime every now and then. We really were just side by side every day on set whenever we were working. So it was really nice. Like I've always wanted a little brother too, and in
There you
Kung
go.
Fu Guy, I still see him as like the first episode Preston, because he
Yeah.
done so much throughout this shooting. Like they had to rehem his clothes so many times. Like
Funny.
he's just like a grown man now. Like, whoa. What'd you do with my Misu? What'd you do with my little brother?
Grew right before your eyes.
Yeah, we tease each other and everything. We bully each other like siblings do.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And Betty is just she's honestly, I love her so much. I've learned so much from her just by watching her. She's really just, my mother. She's so comforting. She's, and
That
Isaac,
one that one scene before you get into Isaac, the one scene I wanted to mention where you're by like the fire and you go over to comfort her after something had happened. Man, that scene brought tears to my eyes just with like how impactful after and there wasn't any words, no words mentioned or anything like that, but just the connection between your characters was amazing. That's one of my favorite scenes in the series.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
You're
no,
welcome.
I was really excited to film that scene too because it's such a big scene for our two characters to connect.
Yeah.
Really excited to film that. And yeah, Isaac is just, he was like, "Oh, what is this girl? Why is she following us?" So it was Taylor's really cool too. He's like my brother or something.
I know like several times in the series where he turns around, he's like, "All right, I want you to stay here." And I was like, "No, like no way. Like Two Moons has to come along with you guys." And sure enough, like we would see you, following them shortly behind. So I was like, "All right, yeah, she has to stay on the adventure with you guys." So, but I thought that was pretty funny that you were just like, "No, I'm still coming along."
I was like, I'm not leaving. You need my help. Come on.
So one of the scenes in particular that I was not expecting was the Meadows Massacre. Like when that started going off, because again, like I said, I went into this not knowing really anything about it, and just you see arrows start flying and gunshots going off and things like that. Can you just talk a little bit about filming that scene in particular? Because I imagine there was a lot that went into filming that scene.
Mhm. Well, okay, let's see. So I really only had like two scenes in it, and it was my hands, my hands grabbing the plate and me running. So like I really didn't see a lot of it because I was in the wagon and I was like ducking down. And then once everything started happening, they were like, "Okay, we're gonna cue you to run." And then like they started shooting the the wagon up.
Oh, yep, yep.
Okay, I gotta run now. So I really didn't like watch a lot of it.
Oh, you didn't get a chance to like watch like some of the other parts of that scene being like played out.
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
Ah, dang. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, imagine it must have been kind of fun just like running away from the tent when they were like, "All right, go, go, go."
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was interesting.
So many amazing props, sets, costumes in the series. What was your favorite thing to see recreated from that time and brought to life in this series?
Um, the Shoshone peoples, like their regalia, was so beautiful. And it was just so like authentic. Like the teepees were real teepees. Like they
Yeah.
took time. It was just so interesting to see. Like I walked on a set one day and I see all of them in their regalia and I was like, oh my God, like I really started to get teary-eyed because like it's just such a beautiful thing to see.
Oh yeah, I mean the costume designing, like I said, was looks, amazing. And was there anything, if you could have kept anything, I guess, from the set, was there anything that you would have loved to have taken home from, working on the series?
Let's see. Okay, so in like the beginning of production, like whenever we were doing fittings, they had me try on a leather dress.
Yep.
And that's what Two Moons was gonna wear in Fort Bridger, but then they're like, oh, I think we are gonna put you in trade cloth because it's like more accurate. I was
Yep.
like, okay. But I really love the dress that Two Moons would have been wearing. It was like fringe, leather everywhere. I would have loved to kept that or to keep that. But they let me keep my knife.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I have my knife hanging in my room and you know.
That's awesome, man. It's a nice little keepsake because yeah, it's not all the time that you get to keep, anything from like a movie or a film series. So that's really cool as a little keepsake reminder. As one of my favorite things about the series too, as an audience member watching this, like I said, I went into it not being really familiar with that because I know it's based on some events. Like not everything's like an exact like true story, but there are some events that it is based off of real people. So it makes me after I finish the series now I want to go and learn more about these these different people that were depicted in the series and learn more about these different events. Was there anything that you maybe learned yourself from working on the series itself, whether it's the different the people or just the different events or things like that?
Mhm. Yeah, I've learned a lot about Brigham Young and the Mormons because I really wasn't like that intrigued by the Mormon culture,
Yeah.
which which kind of sucks. Like I know,
No,
like,
no.
but I was like, oh my God. Like I know it's not like truly based on,
There's
it's not
like,
historically accurate, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So I really just went on my own and like Googled like Brigham Young and like all the things that he's done, you know? It was
yeah.
just really interesting.
It definitely like I like myself like specifically I want to learn more about some of the the different tribes and people that were portrayed here. So that's something I can't wait to check out more of for sure. And I
Mhm.
guess because I'm here in New Hampshire and I guess we do have something that's in like the summer that I guess is like an event that I'm now if I hadn't watched the series that might not have been something that I would have knew about to attend. So I'm looking forward to checking it out. So like I said, that's one of my favorite things and I have to ask you too. I know mainly we're talking about American Primeval, but I wanted to ask you too, like just to kind of to end things as well as your first role that I'd seen you in was Stranger Things, which is my favorite series of all time. Can you just talk about the experience of working on that show as well? Especially where we got a new season coming up this year for it.
Yeah, yeah, it was really quick. I was like 1 month prior to filming, I got the audition and I auditioned for Angela,
Oh, yep,
the other mean girl and the cute girl.
yep.
And I really wanted like Angela, but then I was like, I don't think I'm mean enough to portray Angela. And then I did the cute girl audition, and then they really liked that, so I got that one. And then, and then the next month I was like, okay, mm, your wardrobe fitting is this day, and then your hair is the same day and everything. And they put me in like three different wigs. And it was really interesting because I've never really seen myself with short hair, which was, I kind of want short hair now, I'm not gonna lie.
There you
Like,
go.
I just can't part with with what I have on my head. But
Yeah.
it was very interesting. I loved, everyone was so nice. They were so sweet to me for being just like one little scene.
Yeah, because it can be scary coming into a series that's already everyone's been working together for 3 years prior to that. But yeah, it can be scary sometimes just so they were very welcoming for you.
Yeah, yeah, they were. And it was one of like my first big project, you know? So I was like really nervous. I was like scared. And then it was like we filmed my scene like that was the last thing to film of the day. So I started warming
Oh
up
wow.
to everything and seeing how they worked on things and how they operated. And then once it was my time, I was like ready, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a great way to start off your career, and you got another great role here with Two Moons and American Primeval. Just to wrap things up, is there anything else that you would like to say about working on the show, and where can fans stay up to date with your work moving forward?
Let's see. I love the show. I fell in love with Two Moons so much. I love her so much. I believe that she is the sweetest person ever.
I think
I
she captured a lot of audience members' hearts for sure.
I hope so. I hope so. But I just love this was an incredibly hard shoot, but I'm so glad I got to be a part of it. And let's see. I you can follow my Instagram, Shawnee Pourier. That's where I don't post a lot, but there's some stuff on there.
All
And
right.
let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Perfect. Well, I'll make sure to put that down below in the description of the video so that way people can give you a follow and just stay up to date with your journey. Shawnee, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. It was wonderful getting to talk to you about the show, and you're welcome back anytime in the future.
Thank you for having me. Hi, my name is Shawnee Pourier. I portray Two Moons on American Primeval, which you can watch on Netflix, and this is Pop Culture with Pat.